OK, we're going to start with this, though. The big breaking news from Liverpool. Arne Slot has been confirmed as their new manager. He succeeds Jurgen Klopp, who said, of course, farewell to Anfield yesterday after 9 years in charge. Now, the former Feyenoord manager joins on a 3-year deal. Let's get more on this now with our reporter, Vinny O'Connor, who has been across this story from the start, Vinny. So we knew it was coming. Liverpool didn't waste any time, did they?
No, well, slightly late to the party in many ways, I suppose, because Arne Slot had obviously confirmed it over the weekend. And then that theme was continued by Jurgen Klopp yesterday when he started chanting Arne Slot's name at Anfield. But finally, that statement from Liverpool has dropped in the last few minutes. And in that statement, they say that Liverpool Football Club can announce Arne Slot has agreed a deal to become the club's new head coach, formally taking up the position on June the 1st, 2024, subject to a work permit. The 45-year-old will join the Reds from Feyenoord, as we know, ahead of the 24-25 season after a deal was reached with the club for his services, and Slot will replace Jurgen Klopp at the helm following his decision to step down from the post at the end of the current campaign. Just goes through the success that Arne Slot has had with Feyenoord as well. In that statement, it says the Netherlands-born coach will arrive after 3 highly successful seasons with Feyenoord, during which he led them to the league title in 2023 and was named Manager of the Year on 2 occasions. And more recently, he helped the Rotterdam club to victory in the Cup in April after they defeated NEC 1-0 in the final. Prior to moving to Feyenoord, of course, Slot held the position of AZ Alkmaar head coach, and he led them to second place in the table, trailing leaders Ajax only on goal difference when the Dutch season was cancelled due to COVID. That was back in 2019-2020, of course. And he had a playing career. He operated primarily as a midfielder. He will soon, though, become the first head coach of Liverpool FC from the Netherlands, with his first pre-season in charge of the squad set to get underway in July. And as we've already mentioned, he will take up the post as the new Liverpool head coach from the 1st of June.
All right then, Vinny. What sort of head coach, then, are they getting?
Well, first of all, I think we've got to remember that Liverpool have gone through a pretty rigorous process when it came to recruiting their new manager. And they wanted a seamless transition as well, which is why this appointment has come 24 hours after Jurgen Klopp's final match in charge. Now, the preferred candidate would emerge, as I mentioned, only after that thorough process, and they've utilised all the time made available by the early announcement of Jurgen Klopp planning to leave the club. So that kind of due diligence has meant they've looked at sophisticated data analysis, character performance research, market assessment, performance evaluation, and various other indicators as well. And it's that process that's resulted in Slot emerging as the preferred candidate. And his desire to take the job also allowed for a swift appointment in what Liverpool themselves have described as a challenging market, really. Now, in the most basic terms, the club has taken the view that Slot's record speaks for itself. He's been head coach, as we mentioned, of AZ Alkmaar and Feyenoord. He has earned a reputation as one of the most innovative in his profession as well. He, as I mentioned earlier, he's won the best coach in Holland in each of the last 2 seasons as well. But he's demonstrated a reputation for overperformance. So the highest points per game average of any head coach in AZ's history, Feyenoord's second league title this century, and first European final since 2002 as well. That kind of underlines his ability to not only bring the best out of players, but also to achieve objectives which had maybe been seen as out of reach of the clubs that he's been at. And as a result of his accomplishments as well, he's become one of the big properties in European football. He's attracted interest already from the Premier League before Liverpool came in for him as well. But he had that commitment to Feyenoord and the model that he was working to, which made him want to stay with them for that time. But now he's had that ambition to work in the Premier League. Liverpool have now given him that opportunity. Again, he showed himself to be forward-thinking, innovative. He's worked with an innovative club as well that takes a holistic and collegiate approach. And that includes the areas such as sports science, medical recruitment, culture, data and analysis as well. And we mentioned the success that he's had. So he very much fits the FSG model at Liverpool.
OK, look, we saw the emotional goodbye from Klopp yesterday, and he did, as you alluded to, he did try to get the crowd to sing Arne Slot's name. A lot of them were still singing Jurgen Klopp's name during that period. How daunting a task will it be to fill the boots of Jurgen Klopp, do you think?
Oh, massively. And you could see that again at Anfield yesterday. I remember, I think I spoke to you as well yesterday, Vicky, when I'd been turning up at Anfield, and the amount of people who were saying they just weren't ready for the day or ready to say goodbye. And we kind of got a feel for that. Yeah, the crowd did start chanting Arne Slot, but it very quickly morphed back into them chanting Jurgen Klopp as well. And again, it comes down to what he's created at Liverpool. I spoke to John Achterberg earlier today, and it kind of gave you a feel of what it's been like in the club over the years that Jurgen Klopp has been there. It's that kind of the team spirit that he created, the togetherness. He brought the fans and the club together once again as well. He had that impact off the pitch. We've spoken about him standing up for various groups, whether it's the Disabled Supporters Association, the Hillsborough family, stood up against racism, stood up for the Cop-Outs group as well. And that obviously endeared him even more so to fans. And then on top of that, he was also able to deliver success that maybe Liverpool had kind of got away from delivering in many respects, when you consider that he won the Champions League in 2019, followed that up with the first Premier League title for Liverpool, their first league title in 30 years. A domestic cup double followed on top of that after they'd already secured, of course, the European Super Cup and the Club World Cup. And this year, able to deliver another League Cup as well. And that's despite a raft of injury problems that they had, having to use a number of the younger players who've come through the academy. And there was that joined up thinking, I think, from, the under 21s into the first team. The lads who came in from the academy knew exactly their roles in that first team and made it, I suppose, that transition that little bit simpler for them, because they'd introduced throughout the age groups up to the first team, that's that kind of standard way for them to play. So that's what Jurgen Klopp has kind of created at Liverpool. On top of that, of course, FSG needed to provide him with the environment, or the best possible environment, to deliver success. They've done that with their recruitment setup. They also did that with their new training ground as well. And that's the kind of legacy that Jurgen Klopp leaves behind. And yes, they didn't achieve everything that they wanted to this season with the way that their title challenge petered out, if you like, because we were talking, of course, about a quadruple at one point, but at the same time, at least there's something there, not just a basis for or a foundation, at least, for Arne Slot to build on, but there's also room for improvement as well.
Well, let's talk about that room for improvement then, because, we saw a couple of key players leaving yesterday as well, didn't we? But, what will he have to do? Klopp has left them in good shape, but what will that summer look like? Will he get backed? Will he need to buy many?
I think, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what he does. I'm thinking, not someone who's necessarily definite to leave, but you look at someone like Darwin Núñez and the criticism that he's taken at times, and his numbers are still pretty good. And yet in big moments, he's not been able to find that composure of finish. So it's whether Arne Slot sees him as part of things moving forward, or whether he feels that he needs a bit of a change in that front three. On top of that, there are key players like Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, who this summer go into the final years of their contract. And you would imagine, certainly when I spoke to Virgil van Dijk a few weeks ago as well, that he is someone who could help with the transition for the new manager. So you would think that Liverpool and Arne Slot would want to get him tied down to a longer-term deal. And again, you look at the numbers that Mo Salah has produced this season. And again, just, with Trent Alexander-Arnold, you've got one of the best passers in English football as well. So all key figures that Arne Slot and the new sporting director, Richard Hughes, will be working towards getting tied down to the club and securing their long-term futures as well. On top of that, it's whether they feel they need to improve elsewhere, whether they still need to bring in that defensive midfielder, that holding midfielder. Alexis McAllister has operated there at times, probably not his most natural position. Endo, of course, has come in and done a good job, but maybe Liverpool could do with another option in that area. And with the likes of Joel Matip and Thiago having left, there is space in the squad. And maybe, we've seen the emergence of Jarell Quansah, for instance, this season at centre-half, but maybe they need to look at strengthening the back line. Certainly, we're bringing maybe a little bit of younger blood in there as well, just for the future.
Yeah, so a little bit of work to do over the summer for him. Thank you ever so much, Vinny.